They told you to be realistic, to play it safe, to lower your voice, your vision, your expectations. But tell me, when in the history of greatness did realism ever light a fire in the soul of a warrior? The world doesn't bend to the cautious. It bows to those who dare, those who train their minds like weapons, not wounds. You were not born to beg for mercy from life. You were born to command it. And the battlefield is not outside you. It's not in the economy, not in your critics, not in the chaos. The real war? It's inside your mind, because every day a voice rises, the voice of fear, of doubt, of delay, of comfort dressed as kindness. That voice, it's a liar. It tells you to wait, to soften, to quit. But listen to me. You are not a victim. You are not fragile. You are not meant to live life from the sidelines of your potential. The battlefield of the mind is where all wars are won before they ever touch the ground. This is where warriors are forged, not in moments of ease, but in decisions made in silence. No spotlight, no applause, no audience, just you and your choice. So you must decide every day who you are. Are you the one who reacts, or the one who responds with fire? Are you the one who waits for conditions, or the one who creates them? Because success is not luck. It is not inherited. It is trained, moment by moment, through relentless discipline and the iron will to choose growth over comfort. Think of Edison. 10,000 failures. 10,000 flames snuffed out. But he wasn't training for applause. He was training his mind like a warrior. To see failure not as death, but as data. To see darkness not as defeat, but as design. You see, the greats, they don't avoid hardship. They eat it. They rewire their mind to interpret pain as progress, discomfort as direction, fear as a forge. That's what a warrior does. So when the world gives you chaos, the warrior mind asks, what am I here to master in this moment? Not escape, not blame, not collapse, but master. Let that word echo inside you. Mastery. Because life does not reward the wounded mind that waits for rescue. It rewards the trained mind that seeks mastery in every storm. Let's speak of belief. Not the soft, fluffy kind, but the type that bends steel. The kind Lincoln held when they mocked his ambition, when he lost elections, when failure wrapped itself around him like chains. And yet, he believed. Not because he had evidence, but because he had decision. Belief is not born from the world. It's born in defiance of the world. Your belief must be non-negotiable. You must decide, with finality, who you are, and then move as if the world has no choice but to catch up. Not hope, not wish. Decide. You must train your mind to believe in your vision before the results show up, before the support, before the applause, before the external evidence arrives. That is warrior belief. It sees the invisible. It speaks the impossible. It moves with conviction, not convenience. Now, understand this. Clarity is the compass of the warrior. You don't wander into success. You don't drift into greatness. You build it, brick by brick, on the foundation of crystal-clear intent. Vague goals produce vague results. You must know in your gut why you wake up, what you are building, who you are becoming. A wandering mind is prey, but a focused mind is a predator. And clarity. Clarity turns the mind into a guided missile. Carnegie didn't become the Steel King by trying a little bit of everything. He focused, he sharpened, he cut through noise until only purpose remained. You must do the same, because the mind, when untrained, chases comfort. But when trained with clarity, it creates conquest. And that clarity must be paired with vision. Not just short-term hustle, but the long game. Vision that transcends temporary hardship. Vision that wakes you up when you want to quit. Vision that burns so bright it blinds your doubts. Walt Disney had that vision. Bankrupt. Mocked. He saw castles before they were built. He saw joy before it existed. He moved not by sight, but by vision. You must do the same. What does your future demand of you? What kind of man? What kind of woman must you become to build what you see? Because warriors don't just have goals. They embody the identity required to reach them. That's the secret. Success isn't about achieving something, it's about becoming someone. The mindset of a warrior is forged in discipline. And discipline is not punishment, it is self-respect in motion. It's the decision to no longer negotiate with mediocrity, to say no to what's easy and yes to what's necessary. Every single day. Ford didn't build the automobile revolution by showing up when he felt inspired. He showed up because his standards demanded it. Discipline is not a mood. It is a decision made regardless of mood. It is the ritual of rising before the world wakes, of moving when no one is watching, of building when no one is clapping. Discipline is the difference between potential and power, but it means nothing without action. Thoughts are not enough. Dreams are not enough. You must move. You must execute. You must act as if your life depends on it, because it does. Do not wait for motivation. Do not wait for signs. The sign is you. Take the first step, then the next, and the next. Because movement creates momentum, and momentum turns the impossible into inevitable. And as momentum builds, so does your identity. Because every disciplined action, every intentional step, is a vote cast for the person you are becoming. This is not about motivation. That comes and goes like the wind. This is about transformation. Permanent, irreversible, forged in fire transformation. It's about becoming so solid in your character, so relentless in your standards, that excuses bounce off you like arrows off armor. You begin to move like a force of nature, unshakable, undeniable, unstoppable. But to sustain that kind of internal fire, you must live with gratitude. Not the kind that whispers in journals, but the kind that fuels your grind. Gratitude that screams, "I'm alive. I get to fight today." Gratitude that reframes every setback as a setup, that turns every no into a new direction, that sees adversity as the training ground of giants. Because what you focus on expands. And if you focus on what you lack, you breed scarcity. But if you focus on what you have, even in your darkest moments, you awaken power. You activate resilience. You channel the spirit of those who came before you, who fought wars with less, and built empires with nothing but willpower and grit. That's not just mindset. That's legacy. And you are either building a legacy of excuses or of excellence. Make your choice. Because the warrior mind doesn't crumble when life hits. It rises, it adapts, it recalibrates and responds with strength. And that is the next edge of your evolution. Adaptability. This world will not stop for your plan. It will not bend for your preferences. Things will go wrong. People will betray you. The game will change mid-play. And victims? They freeze. They whine. They point fingers. But warriors, they pivot. They adjust the sails when the wind changes. They find another route when the door slams shut. They don't abandon the mission. They evolve the strategy. Darwin said it best. It's not the strongest who survive. It's those most adaptable to change. So ask yourself, can you bend without breaking? Can you stand tall even when your foundation shakes? Can you learn faster than the punches land? Because the mind of a warrior is not rigid. It is liquid steel, strong yet flexible, structured yet flowing. And within that flow lives resilience, the holy ground of the elite, the spiritual muscle that separates champions from spectators. Resilience is the decision to rise again when everything in you says, stay down. It is the fire that kept Nelson Mandela alive in a prison cell for 27 years. It is the soul of every underdog who ever silenced a crowd. It is not talent, it is not timing, it is not luck, it is will. Pure, unfiltered willpower that says, this pain will not define me. It will refine me. That is the DNA of a warrior. So when the storms come, and they will, you don't fold. You forge. You become harder, sharper, more focused. Not by pretending everything is fine, but by knowing that even when it's not, you are. Because deep down, under the stress, under the fatigue, under the pressure, you know who you are. You've seen the vision. You've heard the call. You've made the vow. And you don't need perfect conditions to move. You don't need a parade to show up. You don't need comfort to commit. You just need the decision. And the decision has already been made. The warrior trains through chaos. The warrior thrives through fire. The warrior learns every single day, which brings us to your most potent weapon, the learning mind. You must become addicted to growth, obsessed with knowledge, unshakably committed to evolution. Because in a world that moves at the speed of light, ignorance is a death sentence. Stubbornness is a prison. Pride is a cage. But humility, the warrior's humility, is strength. To admit what you don't know. To seek wisdom from every failure. To remain a student, no matter how much you achieve. Einstein once said, once you stop learning, you start dying. The warrior lives this. They read. They reflect. They ask. They adapt. Because knowledge isn't just power. It's armor. It protects your mind from manipulation. It guards your goals from distraction. It sharpens your sword for the battle ahead. Never stop learning. Not from books. Not from pain. Not from others. Not from yourself. Every day is a classroom. Every failure is a professor. Every win is a test. And the warrior mind passes by staying open, by embracing feedback, by studying the terrain, by sharpening every edge. You must become the kind of person who learns so fast, who adapts so well, who executes so ruthlessly that the world has no choice but to yield. And through all this, the belief, the clarity, the vision, the discipline, the gratitude, the adaptability, the learning, you arrive at the edge of your past, the edge of your limitations, the edge of the life you were conditioned to settle for. And now, you leap. You leap, not because you're ready. You leap because warriors don't wait for readiness. They decide. And then they act. And only after they've leapt does the world begin to rearrange itself around their conviction. You want to know the truth? The world does not respond to need. It responds to certainty. Victims live in the land of if. If it works out, if I feel like it, if they support me, if the timing is right. Warriors burn the if. They don't tiptoe, they charge. They don't wonder, they declare. They say, this will be done, or I will die on the hill trying. And when that level of intention meets consistent action, the universe listens. People move, doors unlock, resources appear. Not by chance, but by vibration. Because power recognizes power. And when you stand like a mountain, speak like a storm, and move like thunder, the world mirrors you. But remember this, a warrior's path is not glamorous. It's lonely. It's quiet. There are no standing ovations in the early mornings. No cheering crowds when you reject the easy way. No trophies for doing the deep work no one sees. But there is freedom. The freedom of integrity. The freedom of knowing you didn't flinch. The freedom of becoming someone you respect when no one's watching. And in the end, that's the only audience that matters. The warrior in the mirror. Because when the lights fade and the noise dies, The only question that will echo in your soul is, did I train my mind to fight or to flee? Did I master my thoughts, or did they master me? Did I write my destiny, or did I default to fear? That is the final battlefield. That is the silent war that rages in every man and woman who dares to dream. And the ones who win are not the loudest, not the flashiest, not the most talented, but the most disciplined, the most rooted, the most unbreakable. So I leave you with this. Breathe, stand still, and listen. There is a voice inside you. It's been whispering through every doubt, every delay, every detour. It is not loud. It does not beg. It simply waits for you to wake up. It says, enough playing small, enough waiting for permission, enough blaming, begging, and hoping. You are not here to survive. You are here to conquer, not others, but yourself, your fear, your limitations, your excuses. So rise now, not tomorrow, not when it's easy, not when you feel like it. Now step forward with fire in your eyes and steel in your spine. Move like destiny is watching, because it is. Speak like your voice shapes reality, because it does. Act like your legacy depends on it, because it will. You were not born a victim. You were trained to think like one. But now, you train your mind like a warrior, and nothing will ever be the same.